right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Jehovah Boy. I'm your host, Doug Smith. Thanks so much for tuning in. Welcome aboard. I'm very pleased to announce my guest today.
Hello.
This guy,
What's up?
He has been seen on Netflix's Inventing Anna.
Yeah. Keep reading.
HBO's And Just Like That.
Laptop.
Comedy Central's Nora from Queens. FX's Better Things. He was featured on the 2020 season of America's Got Talent. He was featured as a new face at the Just for Laughs Festival in 2018. Semi-regular at the world-famous Comedy Store. And you can hear him on his infamous podcast, Mango Bae. Ladies and gentlemen, Usama Siddiquee.
What's happening, man? What's going on? Biggest credit with Doug right now. Doing Jehovah Come. What is it?
Jehovah Come, yes.
Jehovah Come.
That'll get some clicks. Jehovah Come.
Come over, boys.
Jehovah Boy. It's out. Out with the
What's
old,
up?
in with the new. I love how my plant is in your water glass.
What's it's all good. It's got little minerals in there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, feeling good, man.
Glad to have you here, buddy.
Yeah, man. We never really talked about the fact that we were both religious or like very traditional kids. I guess I always just saw you as slashed guy, cool guy.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Gosling's Drive kind of energy. I didn't know you before. Now I know you're a goofy, sweet guy. When I first saw you, in the first couple of years of just not knowing you, maybe I saw you at Cabin or something, like way back in the day, and I'd be like, this guy is like a fucker. He's like a little heartbreaker, Harley Davidson, fucks him and then drives off type of guy. Kandinsky soundtrack, you know what I'm saying? That's what I thought.
I had no idea. I've been with the same woman since I was 23.
You're like the nicest, you're like a loser, and you're in the best way. But I for some reason, I always gave you this like debonair, devil may cry.
Yeah.
Devil may care, sorry, guy.
I'll take it, man.
And I guess you just looked at the mustache. You got the fucking slash.
Sure.
The slash like calcified you in my head as like a bad boy.
Yeah.
But then I heard your story about it, and that was such a fucking like beta story. Like, I didn't want to help, and then I had to, and I was like,
I got my ass kicked.
I got brutalized.
Yeah, once you know the story, you're like, oh, this guy's a certified bitch.
Yes, sir. Then I was like, it's a bitch myself. I can't wait to unlock more bitch-like qualities. And since then, it's been a cavalcade of just bitchery and
there you go.
Just good, nice boy shit.
Fun fact, Cabin was actually the show that I had left when I got my face slashed.
That's wild.
Straight from Cabin into the 2nd Avenue subway station.
Holy fucking shit, dude. Cabin was this great show back in the day where people would like go there to really be seen.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God. So you might have, did you do a set there?
I did.
Okay.
I followed
Did
up
you
a
bomb?
horrible bomb
Okay,
with a face slashing.
Is that part of the story? You totally bombed right before you, again, got bombed. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a night to remember, for sure. I think the bomb was more memorable than the face slashing. The face slashing, I think I recovered from more easily.
The face slashing was just like an audience member who really just did not like your
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was just like...
They came after you in real life back then. Fuck the YouTube comments. We're going to hunt this guy down in person.
There's been some times where I got like accosted. I got like pushed and like just scratched at by some white lady for some comments.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend just like, not holding her back. I mean, back then it was, I guess she was more dangerous back then.
Right.
People were a little more hands-on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now they hide behind their laptop screen. So I'm sure we got a lot of parallels as far as our religious upbringing.
Yeah.
But we like to start this pod with a rapid fire 5, just to get a little bit of a handle on where you are currently in terms of your religious affiliation, spirituality. So I'm going to hit you with a couple of questions.
Okay.
I'd like you to answer these questions as succinctly as possible in 30 seconds or less.
Jesus or Muhammad?
Okay.
Oh, fuck. Shit.
Hail Satan.
Let's do it.
So, question number 1. What is your definition of God?
A amorphous, unknowable entity. Not quite white girl yoga. Not quite Imam Abdullah. Somewhere in between. Unknowable force that maybe more of a watchmaker deism type thing where they're like, he made it and now it's up to you to learn things kind of thing.
Good answer.
And God is a trans woman as well. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Maybe.
Put a pin in that.
JK.
I'll tell you what. No. I don't entirely disagree. Question number 2. What is your current relationship to him, her, they, it?
Right, exactly. I love the concept of like saying God is omnipotent, everything, in everything. He's a dude, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's in everything, but like in a manly way, dude. What was the question again?
What is your current relationship?
Right. Believer, staunch believer, in a way that's more based in rationalism and empiricism. So like things that are story-based are, quantifiable, unnatural ideas. That's where I'm getting a lot of my God in. As opposed to it's faith based on things I can see, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. What is your current prayer/meditation practice?
Cool. Mantras. It was a lot more. It was a lot more like I am perfect and I am nothing. That's one of the things I say a lot. So I'm like, perfect in who I am. There's nothing wrong with me, but also what is me is a nothing. So it gives me the ability to fail, but also the humility to not give a fuck what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Am I answering anything?
No, these are great.
Okay,
these are perfect.
Okay.
I am perfect. I am nothing. I love that.
Another mantra is, I'll do a zoom out. Say I'm trying to I want to fuck that girl or something. And I want to talk to her. Like she's so hot. Zoom her out, and she becomes dust. And then I go back in. It's a play on the underwear thing where everyone's in the underwear.
Mm-hmm.
I do this thing where like if I look, she's so fucking hot. I want to go talk to her, but I'm so scared. Zoom out, make her dust, Milky Way dust, and then go back in, and then all of a sudden, she's just nitrogen and hydrogen.
Yeah, I've in my experience, picturing a hot girl in her underwear does not help me get the confidence. Dude. I picture her in a full burqa.
Who thought of you?
What is the purpose of life?
To learn as much as you can about yourself, which will unlock the most love you can give to other people. Yeah, it all starts at self-knowledge. If you don't know yourself, you don't have the ability to love others. So learn about yourself, which will lead to loving yourself, which will lead to loving others. Boom.
Jesus, man, this Muslim upbringing did you right.
Sorry, dude. Yeah, trying to convert some fuckers here, actually. That's why I wore my ISIS jacket.
Sold. All right, what happens when we die?
I believe in the continuum. I believe in some sort of, and then, I always wonder, like, how the consciousness feel. Will it persist, or will it be some sort of otherness to it? Maybe a greater level of knowledge that permeates. Maybe the shackles unshackle. I can't necessarily say the feeling of it. Obviously, I have no idea. What I'm getting at, what I'm arriving at in my travels and my learnings, is some sort of consciousness continuum. I don't know what that feels like, what that is, but that's what I see. That's what I'm feeling.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You seem like a quite enlightened individual to me. Now let's debunk all this horse shit.
Here we go.
Well, I love what you say about God being a trans woman, because I was raised to believe that it's Jehovah God. It's a bearded man in the sky,
man, hanging out, right?
Yeah. And I have done several psychedelic trips for more of a therapeutic reason, not just like
DMT?
Hanging out partying. I've not done DMT.
Okay.
I've done mushrooms. I've done MDMA. My wife has surpassed me with leaps and bounds.
Really?
Yeah.
She's a therapist who engages in these.
She just did ketamine therapy a month ago.
Holy fuck! It's like my boy.
I'm now 6 months sober, so that shit is behind me now. But I definitely had did my fair share of dabbling. But I had several mushroom trips where God to me was, if I had to equate it to a human entity, would most closely be compared to Lizzo.
Sure.
A big, brassy, sassy, overweight black woman who was telling me I was a bad bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Be your best self. Get after it. Go get it. You can do it, girl.
I love this. I like this a lot.
And then a week later, the allegations against Lizzo came out. And I was like, well, I'm probably not going to tell anybody that.
Listen, God also, created the locusts too. Like, it's still within the Lizzo world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm actually still a fan. I think it still works out, actually.
You think so?
Yeah.
It holds up?
Are you for real? Like, you think there's this concept of like God being big and like he's always like seen as like this six-packed, guy with like holes in his wrists, right? But like I like the idea of like God having like 1,000 different like. If we're made in His image, Lizzo is part of that, right?
Exactly.
I'm a fan of that. I conceive of that in a very good light.
Yeah.
Which I think already is heresy in so many different cultures. Like us just saying this now is like just flagged in a billion different cultures. Like what? What?
Yeah.
Dude, God wears Patagonia, and he's a fucking white dude, bro. Well,
God shops exclusively at Lululemon.
He's a Lululemon, REI.
Yeah. Green drinking, yoga mat toting.
Yeah, come on, bro.
West Village. Trust fund bitch.
Dude, I like making those people angry who are so rigid.
Yeah.
And the worst people of our culture, like Muslims, are like all in Britain. These are like really tough, like the Britons are like Birmingham or like Muslim are very rigid. If you say this, they're like, you're on a mad thing right now, innit? And they're trying to kill you. They're crazy. They're like, God is real. And if they say the word apostate, like it's normal, like they are crazy.
Wow.
You'll see like videos of like British Muslims in parks, like trying like bullying different like homeless people. You don't believe in God, innit? You don't believe in God? How can you not believe? It's right here. And the guy's like, can I have a sandwich?
He's like, I believe in whoever gives me the bathroom code to the Starbucks.
Whoever gives me a sandwich right now is Jesus
helps
Christ.
Me wash my ass in a sink.
Yes, because my water's turned to urine right now. That's the miracle, please.
Oh, man. That's crazy. So I've never heard the word apostate. I know apostate is an all-encompassing term, but Jehovah's Witnesses heavily rely on the word apostate.
Yes.
So I am an apostate by proxy of doing this podcast.
I'm an apostate just by hanging out with you. You know what I'm saying? Dude, you said Lizzo, and I was like, maybe. That's like just rain down hellfire. I'm like worse than Salman Rushdie right now for that one. But that's interesting. Like that word apostate, I never heard until I watched some of these videos. Yeah. And I was like, this is like a really intense word. Yeah. It's a really like a excommunication type word. Like you're an apostate. You were no longer in the winner circle.
Right.
And Jehovah's, y'all have like what? You have like what? It's like a fucking Willy Wonka golden ticket kind of thing, right? Where it's like 80,000 or some shit.
Pretty.
And you got to find it in your chocolate.
So if only you were allowed to eat chocolate. No, you are. I love hearing people's preconceived notions about what Jehovah's Witnesses
can and can't
do.
black people, I think.
No, definitely not.
So don't
definitely
eat that.
not. You cannot believe in a black God, that's for sure. No, those are all okay. Believe it or not, you can eat chocolate. You can have sex with black people. Jehovah's not a black woman, that's for sure. But they basically believe that there's 144,000 that have been given a divine calling that when they die they will ascend to heaven to rule over. But there is no kind of shitty end of the deal. Like if you're an upstanding member, believer, but which brings me to a thing I wanted to ask you about, because Jehovah's Witnesses believe that after Armageddon, they believe that the end is near. Which I was doing a little. I do not know much about the Muslim religion. I did a little bit of a deep dive.
There's a lot of the same concepts.
It seems that way.
Beasts that come out. There's gonna kill the world. A day of judgment's very much there. The resurrection.
Is it gonna be a single day?
They say it looks like to be a long, the DMV style.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just 35. You can walk up. They show a picture of you jacking off.
You don't have your birth certificate, buys you a couple days.
My judgment day is going to be me just jacking off in 19 different screens. Just like, where is the actual life we're living? A lot of jacking off. Just keep fast forward.
Wow, so there are a lot of parallels. Judgment Day, you said resurrection.
Dude, but Islam in a lot of ways is like very akin. It's monotheistic.
Yeah.
Abrahamic religion. It's very much in the same vein as Christianity. A lot of the same tenets. Judaism actually veers off from both those, in my opinion, because they're like first editions. They're a little more crazy. God doesn't want you to wear knapsacks or something, right? A little more Old Testament type shit.
Yeah.
Quran is more like New Testament. Not like Jesus Christ. Who's listening to this podcast? I'm going to get murdered.
Luckily, nobody.
It's revised edition. It's like the main differences are Jesus was a prophet, God, the Son of God. So but still a very important figure who had the messenger of God on him, but just a prophet. Muhammad, peace be upon him, as the last prophet, the final prophet that God came to and talked to, and that's why we see him as more of our figure. But he's not a god to us. Well, some dudes be really on his ass, on his dick, but
so he's just like regarded because he's the most recent.
Yeah, he's most, but he's also like the final one, the one who brought Islam to the masses.
Okay,
he is seen as the paragon of human existence. Like he lived the best life. When you're praying like he prayed. When you're doing the motions, you're praying like how he did. Problem is, there's two books, right? There's the Quran, which is seen as the Word of God, which is a lot of the same things in the Bible, and you'll see a lot of things that are akin. And then you have the Hadith, which is the side book. It's like a big book of telephone that we all use for our own shit. So things like the 72 Virgins and all this sort of a weirder stuff in Islam is really like some chief told that chief that Muhammad told him in a bush one time that this is 72 Virgins and you get to fuck them. That's where a lot of the weird stuff comes in. Quran is a lot more vague language. We love God. 99 names for his the most beneficent, the most powerful, the all-seeing, all that stuff. It's really more vague. Hadith is like, you better wear a scarf and not fuck. And then 72 Virgins coming at you if you do this. All the sort of Fox News talking points are in the Hadith. You know what I'm saying? That's where it's all at. Like all this weird shit. And so that's one thing I like to say is like Hadith is just this large, like this chain of talking that people ascribe to the words of Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I don't subscribe to that as much.
So, but you were raised in a traditionally Muslim practicing household, correct?
Yeah. My dad was atheist.
And where'd you grow up again?
Dallas.
Plano, okay.
Texas.
Your dad was atheist?
Kinda,
Okay.
He was like a atheist with all the shitty parts still there.
Yeah.
He's an atheist, but he's like, don't fuck. And I'm like, why are you, there's no God for you. Why do you care? It's like the traditional things didn't leave him.
Right.
Because he was like he grew up very religious and he lost it. My mom was still like, go to the mosque, and she threw me into that life. My dad was pretty much like, he would constantly like quote like asshole atheist phrases and shit. Like, did God create man, guys, or did man create God? And then he'd walk away like he'd said something.
Mic drop.
He was just like he writes anti-God poetry on Facebook and trolls his Muslim friends.
Wow.
He's like a little asshole kind of,
So does that mean that he had like I imagine that probably stems from an extremely rigid, restrictive upbringing himself that he's rebelling against. Okay.
Way more than I was. I was thrown into it because my mom forced me into it. And my dad had the traditional values because he just grew up in a traditional, Calcutta environment. So he still had the worst parts of fundamentalism sometimes. Very smart guy, genius guy, but just like had some shit, like kind of homophobic, all this stuff. Where it's like, if you don't believe in God, why are you still against this shit?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just wiring, I think, in a lot of ways. And my mom was more like, just like get into the culture, Bengali culture, Muslim culture, just threw me into it kind of thing.
And were you into it at the start? Were you kind of digging your heel? Were you a rebellious kid? Were you a good kid? Were you compliant?
I was a good kid, but the Muslims that I grew up with were not nice people, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot more bullying. There's these things called surahs, which are like the passages of the Quran. You got to recite them when you pray. And it was like assholes who were like, yo, dude, recite a surah, dude. Like Quran douches, basically, right? Like Quran douches, you'd be like just praying, like, well, what'd you pray? Which surah did you use? And I'd say like, I did the Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Allahu Samad, Lam Yalid Walam Yulad Walam Yakul Lahu Kufuwan Ahad. Like that's a short one. Wow, you don't give a fuck, dude. I read it, and it's like a 5-minute one, and I'd be like, these guys are assholes, man. And so I never liked going to the mosque because they were just like
big dicking you with their prayer knowledge.
Yeah, dicking you, bro.
Yeah.
And my mom hated him too. Because she wore a hijab, but she didn't wear a hijab at she wore a hijab at the mosque, but she didn't wear it in like normal life. And then sometimes she'd be hanging out and like her friends would like put the hijab on her, so she hated those friends. Like fuck off, I want to not do that. So there's like a lot of like eventually we stopped going because my mom hated those women, and then my mom just told me to pray on the side, and then I just lived a very traditional upbringing. So I did. My parents took me out of that by the time I was in high school, but before high school was very much in that shit.
Your parents took you out of the mosque?
Yeah, the mosque, like the schooling. And,
okay.
Sunday school. I didn't do Sunday school anymore. All that shit where I was learning Arabic and stopped that.
Did you go to a regular traditional public school though?
I did.
You did. Okay.
I did.
And so, how many prayers a day? Is it 5 a day?
5, yeah.
And you were doing that?
No, bro.
No, never.
Dad.
Ever.
No.
Your mom?
No.
Really?
No. And we prayed Jummah. Sometimes Jummah is the Friday prayer.
Yeah.
Most important one. Shout out to the Jews, I think, who started that. But it's called Jummah. I used to do that. You have to wake up at dawn for some of these prayers, bro.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
Fajr,
Yeah.
Fajr is the dawn prayer. And people who do that are just, dude, the worst. The dawn prayer people, they're the guys on Instagram where they don't have their face on their avatar. They just have like a scimitar and a constellation. I'm talking about those like super religious IG people that don't like, they don't have their face on there. They just have like Psalm 35, quote, and then just a picture of a gun or something. Those was the Fudger people, in my opinion. But yeah, we didn't stay out too long. My mom was like fed up with those people. She went harder into Bengali culture than into Muslim culture.
So was part of it because it sounds like there's yet another parallel here. It sounds like within the, like real devoted conservative Muslim religion, you're held to a certain standard, and if you don't live up to that standard, you're very much looked down upon.
Oh, dude,
there's
100%.
no casual, like you can't have one foot in the door. You're either 1 foot out the door, rather. Like you're either fully in it or you might as well not be in it at all.
Yes, I mean there's some people that like that.
Yeah,
but again, it's not a monolith, right? You got a lot of people with a lot of different energies towards it.
Yeah.
So you got your super duper cannot shave, got to keep the beard up or else you're going to hell type people who are like everything is fundamentalist. And then you got like a TED Talk where it's like, I'm a gay imam, and he's just talking about being a gay imam, and then go to the comments on that, and everyone's like, LOL, no. There's like a billion comments just like hating on this guy who's like this gay imam. Who's like, I'm gay, I'm an imam that's gay. And I love that guy because he's just living his own truth and he's living Islam in his own truth. But go to those comments and you will see how rigid people can be.
Did you know any people in your mosque that were clearly gay that were trying to keep it under wraps?
Every time I looked in a mirror, I'm just kidding. Not gay. Which is fine though if I was.
Or like Mango Gay.
Yeah, Mango Gay. Lock it in. Yeah, bro. I was. Of course, I knew a couple of gay dudes. I remember
because rampant homophobia, just like with Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Like there is no acceptance of that whatsoever.
Even the nicest people are like, but yeah, gays are going to hell.
Yeah,
like they're it's pretty stringent,
right?
Even though it's pretty amorphous in the books, I think there's no straights only passage, but
exactly,
it just has morphed into this thing. I used to hate gay people until I had this gay friend actually. Adam was this guy's name. He was so gay, dude. He was so gay. He was a Muslim guy, and he was so gay. Like he had like the little snake eyes. He had a stepdad who hated him. He was just gay, and I was like had to.
If you don't have a stepdad who hates you, you are not gay enough. You are not doing it right. Classic. Go back and try again.
The only two qualities I know gay people have. Snake eye earrings.
Wait, what is this? Oh, snake eye earrings?
No, snake eye, what is it called?
Oh, is that like a double lip piercing?
It's called snake eyes, right?
Is it? I don't know. I never heard that. Okay.
I forgot. Whatever
Either
it
way,
is.
Yeah.
He was so gay. He would get gayer and gayer every year and get more and more like, just like presenting as gay. But then it got crazy because he was like, grew up very Muslim. So this guy was very like, didn't know how to like not fuck all the time.
Yeah.
So we'd be like in my dorm room, right? All of us in like in my apartment, and me and like all the other guys, we like go get some Taco Bell, and Adam is like, I'll just wait here, just hanging out here. I'm like, all right, we'll be back. He's playing Mario Kart. We go get some Taco Bell. We come back. He's like fucking on my bed. This random Asian guy. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, there's like jizz everywhere. He's like jizzed on my bed. He like, I had a Pokemon towel that I loved. It was like this towel of all the Pokemon. He jizzed on that. And I'm like, bro, I'm not going to use it. It's your towel now, dude. Take it. So yeah, so you got too gay.
Yeah.
Like we were gone for like 20 minutes.
And he wasn't even fucking another Muslim.
Dude, he was like a Buddhist.
Yeah, so I was
Asian
going to
guy.
say, that's the bigger sin, right?
You weren't fucking towards the east. At least towards, at least towards the east, buddy. Yeah, it was still fine. I was pushover. I was like, when you're done coming, we're playing Mario Kart outside. I had to change the seats. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you didn't know how to healthily have a gay relationship. You had to like do it while we were on a Taco Bell run, and it was all secret. And this random guy he had to coordinate time so the guy would walk in when we left. Just a guy who wasn't healthy on sexual relations. But he's coming everywhere, dude. Just came everywhere on my shit, dude. And I should have minded it more, but should I have been less hard going in? I don't know.
Yeah. Damn.
Dude, it was crazy. It really was a wild day. I was really mad. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And we didn't talk for a long time, but then he said sorry, and then, it was all good. But he was just like a guy who didn't have healthy relationships because he was a Muslim gay guy. He was demonized, and the more I learned about him, his greatest wish was to turn other people. He wanted to turn his straight friends. Yeah. He would get people drunk sometimes and start hanging out with them. I'm like, this guy is crazy. Like, wow. He was a bad customer in a lot of ways, but he's good now. I think he's figured out a lot of this shit. I haven't talked to him in years, but hope Adam's doing well.
And you told me that you did not jerk off until you were 18 years old. Is that true?
Yeah. I didn't know what it was. I had no concept. I had no. Was it the same for you?
Does that mean you weren't even you weren't? It wasn't that you were told that it's a sin and not to do it. It just wasn't even on your radar. Yeah, no, I didn't even know what it was, dude. I didn't even conceptualize the concept. Were you a late bloomer?
Oh yeah, dude.
Like how late?
I didn't fuck till I was 21.
My voice didn't change when I got my driver's license.
Yeah, but at 16 years old, you were still like, hey.
Yeah,
dude. I didn't. There's a couple weird things in my life. I didn't jack off till 18. I didn't have sex till 21, which is more normal. But I didn't know what sex was when I learned what AIDS was. So I didn't know the word sex. So people were like, you can get AIDS from sex. And I was like, what? Because I thought sex was just making out. That's what I thought it was. So I learned about AIDS, and I was like, you can get AIDS from making out? So I was freaking out about that. This is the 9th grade too. I didn't know that women had vaginas in 9th grade. I didn't know. The way I learned about sex, what it was, I was reading sex jokes, and one of the punchlines was, put it in. And I was like, put it in? What? How could you put it in if everyone has dicks? How do you put in a dick into another dick?
So you thought that women had dicks until you were 9th grade?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is real. I can't even, I look back and I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? But it's a combination of all our friends were sex negative. We were all like weird Hindus or Muslims that didn't talk about sex. It was all video games and like grades for us, all a bunch of brown nerds. Jacking off didn't make sense to me. We didn't talk about that stuff. It was just like all through middle school. It was just like just taboo. I just didn't talk about it.
You clearly did not take sex ed in school either.
No, I think I might have taken it, but I didn't log it in to my brain.
So I was discouraged from any sort of sexual activity,
Bro,
but that just means that I
fully
immersed myself in sex ed.
Dude.
If I'm not going to be able to touch it, I'm going to know the shit out of it.
Bro,
so when I can,
I
can get after it.
It's like when you watch the sex ed video, because I watched it, they only show you the male parts. Yeah. It's some video of male parts, which is completely useless.
Right.
I don't need to know I have a vas deferens. Show me a diagram and label it where the clit is. You know what I'm saying? Like the 5th grade video was just your dick and balls in a diagram. And you're like, okay, so I have Bartholin's glands or some shit. That's a woman's thing. But why did they show us?
You surpassed me. I thought I knew it all. Bartholin's glands.
That's a woman's thing, I think. Whatever. But why did they show us a woman's genitalia and also where the clit was? I just thought that was a weird thing to just show you what you already knew about yourself.
Yeah.
So I just learned about my dick. Didn't learn about pussies.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know. I kept not learning. It was just a weird traditional upbringing where nobody talked about sex, so I never learned about it. So I didn't give a fuck. I was such a gamer. My whole life was just gaming. I was a Nintendo fanatic.
Yeah.
So all I cared about was gaming. My whole life my passion was gaming. I was just like a gamer. My dream was to just beat the hardest games of all time. So I would just play Double Dragon and R-Type and Gradius and fucking these impossible games, and that just consumed my whole life.
Yeah.
That's who I was. I didn't give a fuck about sex. Are you kidding me? I have to play Gradius 3,
Yeah.
That was me.
Wow.
That was me, dude. I had wet dreams every 2 days because I didn't jack off. So the cum was coming out.
So when did the wet dreams start?
Like middle school.
Middle school.
I would just like a girl and just constantly come to her in my dreams. And me and my brothers used to sleep in the same bed for a long time, so I would just like jizz everywhere.
Oh, Jesus. Right on his back.
Oh,
Poor
God.
kid.
Cum shot. My first cum shot was on my brother 19 times. Of course. But why was his back arched is the other question. So why was his back arched? We got to ask him that.
Why did
I'm saying? Why do you have the arch?
Why did he ask for it on his stomach just for a change of pace? Just to keep it spicy.
Why do you say it's my birthday? So please, stomach. Oh God! It was weird, man. But when you don't come, you just come. There's no way out of it when you're young and it's just starting to churn.
It's got to get out of there one way or another.
But what would happen is I would because I was so backed up, I would have a dream of me like, sitting in class and just doing math problems, and I'd wake up and I'm just jizz everywhere.
So it wasn't even a sexual dream
because I was so not jizzing that my body would just like make anything like, we're coming.
Yeah. Is that how into math you were?
Yeah. And I'd wake up and like, am I that Indian?
I solved the problem.
Am I that brown? That I'm turned on by calculus?
Valedictorian.
That's what it was, dude. I was just coming to anything, dude. And
so I don't know about you. When I was in middle school, again, I was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
So I used to hear kids in middle school talk about wet dreams all the time.
Yeah.
And I felt envious. I was like, why haven't I had a wet dream? Like you're coming in your sleep. That sounds awesome. And then I finally had one, and you're like, oh, this is awful. I hope this never happens again.
Your shit is like jizzed out.
You got to wake up early and sneak down into the laundry room so your mom doesn't find out.
And here's the thing, and this is every mom ever, little PSA, we all know now.
Yeah.
Like every mom ever was just dealing with your clothes.
Right.
And it's so obvious when something is cummed on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's got like a texture to it. When
sure.
Dry cum texture.
Yeah.
My mom knew.
My dad's sex talk had nothing to do with sex. It was just about wet dreams. And he just came in one day. He was like, one of these days you're going to wake up stuck to the sheets. Don't worry. It's perfectly normal.
Oh, Dad.
I got to go to work. He walked out of the room. And there was no explanation of why I would wake up stuck to the sheets. Just you're going to wake up stuck to the sheets. Do I get hammered and fall asleep on a glue trap? What does that mean? And then it happened. I get up and the sheets just come with me.
Yeah, you're just
I'm like, oh, okay.
You look like fucking Linus from Charlie Brown. Just like, that's the real thing with Linus. He was just coming so much he couldn't leave his sheets, dude. Right? Dude, that's the old reference. But yeah, bro, I didn't know. I would do this one thing though. I would get naked. So it was like a weird manifestation of my sexual repression because I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew, like the 5-year-old fucks the couch and he just doesn't know. He just knows that he has to do it.
Yeah.
That was me with this thing I used to do. I would get naked at night when everyone's sleeping, and I would go outside naked, and it would be a thrill for me. I'd be like running around naked in the cul-de-sac in my neighborhood, and I was just like super turned on by this, and I was like getting hard, and I didn't know what jacking off was. This.
At what age was this?
This is 9th grade,
Jesus
10th grade,
Christ,
11th grade. I didn't jack off till college, freshman
year.
Yeah. 12th grade, I was just running around naked. Somewhere like outside, there's probably some old guy like every night, like, oh yeah,
yeah,
got the popcorn and the fucking lube, you know what I'm saying? And so I would just do this thing. I would winsterbait, stray breezes would come turn me on. I was just like, it's weird like concept.
You never got caught.
I never
Nobody
got caught.
ever made a phone call to your parents.
Never.
You didn't have to go door to door.
The old guy called.
Different reason.
Tell him to keep up the good work. No, dude, it was never. It was a weird thing I used to do. And now I know, looking back, it was just like some way to stimulate me because it wasn't jacking off. And so there was no way to release that energy. So I was just fucking running around naked.
But this had nothing to do with the fact that you were told this was a sin. You were not told this was a sin.
No one ever told me about sex, dude. No one told me.
Yeah.
People told me like, I knew that liking girls was a sin. That's what the sin.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even like girls. In high school, there was a girl in Nagashri liked me, and I was disgusted. I was like, I took a 3-hour cold shower because I liked her too, and I was like, maybe we can. And I was like, no, I came out of that shower like I will not go, try to woo her.
Yeah,
very, 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 very anti all this stuff, man. I was just traditional in a way that wasn't even like religious, but also I thought it was bad. I thought it was bad. You were bad if you liked girls. You were a bad guy if you enjoy the company of women. I was a judgmental, fucking, really indoctrinated. So much so that I didn't even know what sex was. I was just like, they told me girls was bad, and I was like, enough, good. And they're like, what else? I don't gotta hear it. They were gonna talk about. They were gonna say sex is all. I don't even need to. I'm good. Girls are bad. That's it. So I never even got the talks. I just knew that girls are bad, dude. This was very weird.
So you brought up in the beginning of this that you thought I was this slick fuckboy heartbreaker dude.
Maybe, but
that's the impression that I got from you when I first met you.
Yeah, right, dude.
So are you making up for lost time?
There's 100% in my 20s, dude. I was like out fucking. You know, I was like, let me fuck my way out of my own self-hate.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
definitely. I needed the attention of women to feel cool.
Sure.
And not in some like simple. I was like, I need this because I was so lame growing up. But then you realize as you fuck more, you're like, I was cool back then when I just like video games and my friends.
Yeah,
that's the real cool guy, And then I stopped gaming for a couple of years. I was so into like getting women. I was like, which is such a weird thing because it was such a part of my personality. And I was like, be gone, Nintendo. I love women now. And I just stopped gaming, and it was such a darkness in my soul when I stopped gaming, and I came back to it like 8 years ago or 7 years ago, and I was like, oh God. It was like finding myself again, like what the fuck was I doing? I learned all my shit in New York. So I lost my virginity in 21, this really like very forward brown girl.
In New York?
In Dallas.
In Dallas? Okay.
Yeah, she like took, I was like, I had no game whatsoever, so she took all that. She's like one of those I got you boo types.
Yeah.
Then I came to New York, and I hadn't drunk yet. I had never done Molly. In the first week I drank, did Molly, licked an ass, like all in the same day. I was one crazy day. I was 23, and I was like, you know what? I just gotta fucking, like, New York just came into my soul, and I was like, fuck, let me just try to fuck women and do drugs. And I was in that, what a small town white guy finds in his first day in college. Sure. I found at 23 in New York.
Same here, man.
Same here, right?
Yep.
And I just found all this new lifestyle. Women are cool in New York. They're down to fuck. They're smart. They're interesting. There's drugs. I was a Molly, like, came into my life. I was like a fucking Molly guy for the bro. Jesus, I was a Molly kid. Every 3 months, I was just doing Molly, and I was like, that kid, 23, 27, 28, really hustled for drugs and just trying to get laid. Damn.
Wow.
I was that guy. I was trying to be that guy.
Yeah.
I'm just a little anime fan, at the core of it, dude. But, here's the thing is like, then you realize that once you're yourself, that even more women come to you. Like once you're actually like yourself, that's when I was like, even more kind of, attention came my way. So like 28, 29, when I started like really accepting everything, then I, had even more fun going out and stuff like that. So it took a long time, dude. It took a long time to build that. But you met me when I was like 26, 27, maybe?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
How
I was
old are you
deep in
now?
that. I'm 32.
32, okay.
We were never
I'm
like
40.
really hung out, but I saw you around. And we were both walking by each other like, who's that? Who's that? Hard sack of shit. Who's that tall drink of water? Yeah. And we're both just like thinking about nerd. Yeah, I'm thinking like a Mega Man composer. You know what I'm saying? And you're reading like Dune or something. Yeah. We're just both nerds. We should have like just talked to each other back then. Like we're like,
right?
This guy's too cool for me, man.
Oh man,
this guy's on the way to fuck something.
I'm a coulda woulda been gamer. I was like, I was so obsessed with my Nintendo as a kid that I was like a pretty mellow kid. But you get a Nintendo in my hands, it was like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, dude. Like if you and I were playing Nintendo right now,
throwing the shit,
and you took my turn, I would flip your fucking chair over. I would start beating the shit out of you.
Your parents rightly were like, We got to get him off.
My mom hid my Nintendo when I was 8 years old, and Paperboy was my game. Like, you think about the games kids play now, where it's just like living out your most depraved, violent fantasies. And according to, it's like my
now you're playing a game where like the Paperboy goes inside the house and fucks the wife. And
right.
It's ultimately life.
What was so great about what's my fantasy? Waking up at 5 a.m. to earn minimum wage.
Fantasy is a job.
Yeah.
And the new sequel, Dishwasher.
Yes.
Coming out to Game Boy Color.
Stay tuned for the lemonade stand.
Paperboy was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun, but for some reason it was so popular. I was like, why is this game so popular?
Right.
I think it was a launch title for Game Boy. So maybe that's why people loved it so much. Maybe it was a launch title. It maybe came packaged with the game system.
But dude, I used to come home from school every day like an angry drunk.
Yeah.
Like, where is it? Where's the Nintendo? Just like flipping over couches,
your mom.
rummaging through closets.
Please stop stabbing your mother. My mom would also hide the games. And I was like, fuck you, I just found them. I was like a little raccoon with it. I was like, and my mom was diabolical. She'd hide in like inside heaters and shit, like underneath like bricks. I'm like, Jesus, like she was crazy. Games were a big culture in my family. If my big brother was mad at me, he'd beat me and then delete a game file.
Oh wow,
it was crazy. It was all very games based.
God damn,
trouble, man. We were very big. My mom hated we like games. I was just a fucking gamer, dude.
Damn it.
Yeah, bro. I was also.
That's
I wasn't mean,
cold-blooded, man. To delete a file,
dude,
I never
he would hold my foot down, my head down, making me watch it.
Make you watch,
and then he would go to Ocarina of Time and the one with all the heart containers, and he'd fucking delete the file. And he'd walk away. I'm just like there, lying there, leaking. Noel, crazy guy. Noel, love him now. It's good now. For a long time, I hated my brother for a long time because he was a menace. He was a trauma inducer. And then I went in 23, 25, I would go back home and he was chill. And he was like, hey, you want to watch some Star Wars?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? My body was still like, fuck you, dude. I hate you.
Yeah.
But it took a long time to finally accept him into my love. I took a lot of Molly, actually. I took Molly enough times where I would call him every time I was on Molly. Be like, well, you know, you were really mean to me, but I love you, man. I love you.
Yeah, those wonders, man.
I woke up the next day, like, all awkward, like. Then I made this decision to be like, okay, if I do Molly and I say something to somebody on the Molly, I have to, when I'm sober, call them again and say the same thing.
Yeah.
I can't let Molly be a superpower. And so once I started doing that, that's when things started to really connect, where I would say I love you at 2 a.m. to my brothers, and then I'd call them the next day. Very weird feeling, and be like, what's up, bro? I love you again. Just want you to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you agree that I felt the same way about Molly? It kind of like unlocked this potential that I could have all the time.
Dude, it's
an outlook on life that I wish I had, like, and I used to delude myself by thinking like, oh, I was under the influence, I was on drugs, and it's like, no, that was just unlocking what's already 100%, in my own brain. 100%. So why can't I do that without being under the influence?
100%, dude. I always hated the idea that the drug would give you the superpower.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? It's not. So I'm going to make sure the drug is my normal. So the empathy I gave when I was on drug, I will give when I'm off the drug, has saved my relationship with drugs. I was going to be a drug guy, addictive personality for sure. Then I was like, no, this is just going to give you, like alcohol I see as a glimpse into your confidence future, right? It's like you drink some alcohol, wherever level you're at, you're going to have a little bit more confidence. So you can see like, oh, that's going to be sober me in 2 months. And so me right now is drunk Usama when he was like 23, like the level of confidence I have now. So like, I'm just looking at it like, oh, it's just little glimpses into a potential future.
Yeah.
That's what drugs are to me at this point in my life.
Yeah. And so now is it you still do Molly, I'm assuming?
No, I haven't done Molly in a long time. Those come down was getting rough, dude.
Yeah?
Those come down was getting a little crazy. But me and my friend Dylan, we had a group of comics that were always doing Molly. We had the little Molly crew growing up. And we all stopped doing Molly. We're all like, none of us talked about it. We all just like unsaid. We had one last come down. We're like, this is done. But we do this thing where every Halloween we do Molly. We haven't done it in the last 2 years, but I think we'll do probably next Halloween, where every Halloween we just do Molly and go to a party.
Yeah.
And that's always been fun because those come down. I was doing it every 3 months and I was going crazy. I'd have like a red-eye flight to LA, then I'd do Molly the day before. I was going, it was too much, bro. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was your mom abreast of all of this
stuff?
Not
abreast.
No, not abreast.
Your mom was?
No, my mom died when I was 17.
Oh, shit. Okay.
That's what kind of freed me up.
from the religion.
I was a good boy until I was 17.
Oh, shit, dude.
And then, dude, me and my dad at the same time.
She died, and you're like, "Where's the Nintendo?
Yeah.
Mom, fuck."
You couldn't have left a note. You bitch.
Rest in peace, of course, Mama Smith.
Yeah, never found it. But yeah, when she died, me and my dad, who had been a dry drunk for almost 40 years, went completely off the rails.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, how's he now?
He still drinks. He's 92. He has one eye. And he still he drinks a fucking pint glass of Canadian whiskey every night. And he still drives.
You know, if he stops drinking that, he'll die, right? Like,
exactly.
100%. His body will.
No, my brother and I talk about it all the time. Like, he eats corned beef and drinks Canadian whiskey every day.
He's 92.
He probably shouldn't be doing that, but clearly it's worked out for him. If we took that away, he would probably throw himself down the stairs.
These are like unquantifiable experiments. Like, we can't ever see him live a life that wasn't like that and see where he would die.
Yeah.
Something tells me he'd die earlier if he wasn't doing his lifestyle.
Yes.
Probably there's some sort of like psycho thing where like he enjoys it so much that it keeps him going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like our enjoyment of our lives is a big part of what keeps us going, right?
Yeah. Whereas I'm 6 months sober. Yeah. I eat healthy. I exercise every day. I'm probably going to drop dead in a week.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Dude, nothing makes you feel better than the guy who runs every day dying. You're like, fuck you.
Yes.
Good. Good. Go die, bitch. Go back to, eating like 5 Martha's Bakeries a fucking day, man. I'm a little pastry fiend, man.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's your downfall?
I love a little pastry. I'm getting, because I like to go right in coffee shops, and anytime I go to a coffee shop, I'll hit like a little oat milk cap, and I'll fucking get a nice little chocolatey thing, and that flavor compound of the bitter and the chocolate, bro. Mamma mia. It's Molly. It's 30-year-old
Molly. There you go.
32-year-old Molly is that, bro.
Wow.
That's great. So your dad wasn't a father figure after that?
No.
Oh, shit.
Not at all.
Damn,
no.
bro.
Not to get too down on my luck, but it was kind of like I lost 2 parents at the same time because he was like, I was no picnic.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a fucking sloppy drunk, but he was like, I had to help him up the stairs, help him into bed, like.
And you're 17. You're 17,
17, yeah.
You started losing respect.
My first time getting drunk was at right after my mom's funeral, drinking a 6-pack of Mike's Hard Lemonade. And then I used to just binge drink by myself.
Yeah.
Like just to challenge myself.
You were a bad boy. I knew you were a bad boy a little bit. Dude, don't gaslight me, dude.
Dude, I got kicked out of every bar on St. Mark's Place within 6 months of moving here.
You grew up in New York?
No, I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay.
But I moved here when I was 22.
When did you start comedy?
When I was 26.
So 4 years of real sloppy.
Oh, yeah. I came here to do comedy, and I was like, I got to be a drunk whore and get that out of my system first.
Because we all think we got to be like Greg Giraldo.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In that time period,
right?
Only bad people were funny. So you had to be like, I got to be bad if I want to be funny.
Exactly.
You know what saved me from that was Pete Holmes. I started comedy, and I was like, you got to be a rapist to be funny or something. And Pete Holmes was like, I'm nice. And I'm like, whoa. I learned later he's fake nice, but back in the day, I was like, nice guy doing comedy. It inspired the fuck out of me. I was like, I can do this. I can do it. I'm a nice guy.
It can be done.
Can be done. And here we are.
Damn. Well, hey, we got 7 minutes left.
Yes.
You down to do a 7-minute Patreon?
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
All right. So before we get to that.
Also, the final words, all love, live with more love, and that should be your religion at the core, regardless of God or not. All right.
Amen.
Amen.
In Jesus' name. So
and buy Doug a Nintendo. Can you get this guy a fucking Nintendo out here? Jesus Christ, starts crying.
So we got a pretty positive picture of you and your spiritual outlook on life and your idea of God and love and your embracing of your brother and your family. Sounds like you don't really have any resentments about your upbringing.
Not anymore. Not left.
We painted a pretty positive picture of you. So now we're going to get to the dark underbelly of Usama. So if you want to hear this conversation, subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Jehovah Boy. And let's get your plugs in. IG.
Usama stands up, USAMA stands up. Follow me at my website, islamis1truereligion.gov. Come me at Mango Bae, at your Mango Bae, YOURMANGOBAE. Follow my best boy, Parnav Bihari, PRANAHAHA, because I want him to get some followers. All right.
Nice. Awesome.
Boom.
And love. If you're not already doing so, I imagine you are, but at WhoDougSmith on Instagram, YouTube, rate, review, subscribe. Email us at jehovahboypodcast@gmail.com if you want to share your crazy religious upbringing, whether you're a Muslim, Jehovah's Witness, Scientologist, Children of God. I'd love to get a Wiccan on the show.
Yay.
I never talked to a Wiccan.
Shinto? Where my Shinto's at?
Yeah. Send out your story, and you could be featured on the pod. And we'll be releasing full archive of past episodes on YouTube very shortly, and make sure to subscribe to the Patreon for bonus content. Patreon.com/JehovahBoy. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.
Yeah.